Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our next session on Automation Days Asia 2023. My sincere apologies for starting a few minutes late because we had a bit of technical hiccups to start with. But it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Rena Ling, who is the Head of Marketing and Communications at Randstad Singapore, Malaysia, and Greater China. Rena is a bilingual communicator with more than 25 years of marketing, branding, licensing, and communications experience, and has worked on high-profile projects across various industries such as telecommunication, banking, publishing, media, tourism, just to name a few. She's often been described as a creative and passionate marketing and branding advocate with a strong business partnering skills and experience in translating aspirational ideas into concrete plans, leading to solid returns. Rena, first time at Automation Days 2023. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you today. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Jan, for the warm welcome. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Great. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm extremely thrilled to be here. As Jan said, it's my first time in Automation Days. And speaking about a topic that's really close to my heart and, of course, my job. AI has always been a hot topic, but in recent years, as you guys know, it has been elevated to frenzied levels due to the explosive launch of Gen AI, which interestingly has simplified this tech and made it really accessible for common men like you and me. So I'm going to jump right into my presentation because in the next 45, 50 minutes, I have a lot to go through. And I would like to share 4 key topics, which is number 1, how we started on our AI journey. So at least you know the thought process and the considerations we went through, how we've integrated AI into our marketing and comms workflows. And then I'll show you some real life examples of how AI impacts the work we do in marketing and what leaders like yourself need to consider when choosing to work with AI. But before that, can you just click through the 4 topics that I'm going to talk about? And click on some more. Sorry, Jan, can you click some more? Yeah. And then go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide. Yep, so I will do something about me, a very quick introduction. That image that you see, it's actually generated by AI, a text-to-image AI tool. Basically, I spent Jan, if you don't mind, go to the next slide. I spent 25 years, like what Jan has talked about when he introduced me as a marketing comms and branding professional. I started my career first with MTV, which was the coolest place to be back then when there was no Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, or Spotify. And then I moved on to Singapore Tourism Board because I have greater ambitions to market a country rather than just a brand. And then finally, I shifted gears to the recruitment and talent industry because I realized my work could have a more meaningful impact on people and their jobs and lives. So next slide, just some quick background about Randstad, where I work. We are next slide, please, Jan. We are a Fortune 500 company and one of the world's largest talent companies with headquarters in the Netherlands. In 2022, we have more than 2 million people across 39 markets find jobs and help over 280,000 clients build high-quality workforces. Next slide, please. We recruit for most major industries across 4 specialization. Operational, which requires technical skills and most staff to be on-site. Retail, manufacturing, engineering call centers. The professional specialization, which focuses on more white-collar, high-level jobs. HR, finance, marketing, healthcare. And then there's digital stream, which focuses on all technology and digital roles. And then the enterprise group, which focuses on major clients, key global accounts, looking at recruitment process outsourcing, outplacement, career transition type of projects. Next slide, please. So enough about me and my company. I want to dive straight into how and why we got started on our AI journey. Fun fact, all the images you see from this slide onwards are generated by a text-to-image AI tool called Midjourney, including this one. So I hope you like the images. So when we look at some of the research, you find that 70% of customers expect more interaction with AI in the next 5 years, right? And close to 80% of marketers are already using AI tools on a daily basis. If you're not on the AI train yet, you should be worried, because CMOs like myself are now increasingly experimenting with AI tools to achieve 3 key goals, mostly personalization, insight generation, and content creation. So keep these 3 goals in mind, because I'm going to show you how these very same goals help drive our decisions around AI. So I go through a 3-step thought process, right? So you must be thinking, with so many options out there, how do you decide where to start? So we first started with why, then the what, and then the how. Why? I have one rule my team knows whenever we try to embark on something new. You always start with why. Why do we need to do something different? Why would even this tool make a difference? Why are we even looking at AI? So when I look at our whys, next slide, please, Jan. I found that we simply do not have enough time in a day to do all the work we need to do. Headcount is also a luxury, so I can't really scale the work we do with a very small team. We have a big organization, but we have the budget that is more tailored for B2B marketing. And then there are also a number of inefficiencies in our marketing processes, just like any other business process. So the why is important because it is the first step to identifying the right solution later. Before I go to the what, can you click again, Jan, just one more time? Another time. Yeah. So I want to introduce you this concept of the project management trilemma. So for years, we have to deal with this trilemma, right? If you want something fast and good, it will not be cheap. If you want something cheap, it will not be good. And if you want something cheap and good, it will not be fast. So interestingly, with the current AI tools and landscape, it seems we can produce very high quality projects like the images I've shown you very quickly and at very low cost. So this means AI could potentially be a very good solution to answer our whys. Next, go to the what. Now that we have established our whys, let me share what drives our thought processes and decision-making processes. The first thing we ask ourselves before making a decision is, what's the problem we are really trying to solve here, right? So more often than not, a lot of leaders get distracted by new toys. We call it the shiny object syndrome. So and they will jump straight away because they saw someone having it. It works for them. It might work for me. Not all problems need to be solved by AI or technology, but you wouldn't know that unless you have a deep understanding of the problem, right? And another advice I would give before jumping in is, you have to dream big. Like, what else can I do? How else can I resolve my issues? But start really small. Because there are so many possibilities when it comes to AI, but if you don't experiment and you don't try, and if you are scared of failing, you won't be able to reap the benefits of AI. So the key is to really take it slow. Someone I once know asked, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is 1 bite at a time, right? So don't chomp off too much. Just do it 1 step at a time. The final step is to set realistic goals and put in tracking measures, because you need to know if the tools you have put in money are actually hitting your objectives and giving you the returns that you're looking for. Next, we look at the problems that need to be solved, right? So for our team, we were faced with a number of problems. We have a lot of client leads that are not being followed up on. We don't have enough sales qualified leads. We can't meet high content demand. I have 4 markets, out of which 3 markets are English-speaking markets, so we need to generate a lot of content. We can't scale our content marketing efforts because there are so many different social platforms, website, blogs, articles, social posts. It's just too much, right, for a very small team. Many times we also hear a lot of this complaint where marketing and sales, there's no alignment. Marketing does all that they want to do, and then sales don't follow up on all the leads that you bring in. So that's a huge problem. There are also low online conversions because you can bring in a lot of traffic to your website, but people are not converting. So we need to put in place tools that can help people convert. And then you can't optimize content fast enough, right? Because you have so much content. You're producing for all 3 markets. How do you optimize every single piece to make sure that you rank well on Google? So we identified some of these problems and said, okay, now we can look at how we can solve them using AI. So next, we look at how. How did we start? So first, we look at how we can go about picking the tools, right? So we have a very simple framework. We built a business case first. And then we say, we need to build this business case so that we can get buy-in, not just from my team, right? I need to influence my team to say, use this tool because it's a change of their work process. And also anyone else, it might be the sales guys who might be using these tools. And I usually like to pilot with a startup because startups helps to align with my start small concept. They are cheaper. They are also more accommodating to incorporate your ideas to their product roadmap. So we have worked with a couple of startups who does just that. When we tell them we need this to be changed, we need this feature, they actually start incorporating our ideas into their roadmap. And then it became more and more customized for our use. We also have an internal task force, like you bring in legal and IT and the sales guys and marketing. And then they come in together and help you to improve the business idea and the use of the tools, so that you guys can optimize the tool and everyone gets a buy-in. Usually when you work with a startup, you can request for a POC, which is a proof of concept. So for the first startup we worked with, we asked for a 3-month POC at about maybe $1,000 a month, which is within my budget signatory limits. So, I was thinking if I fail, no one would know, it's an expense. But if I succeed, it is actually something that we can do at very low cost, but still yield very high returns. And that's what happened. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So how we build a business case is we actually look at a link canvas, and then we plug in some of the details about this project or about this tool. Then if you don't mind, click 3 times on the side. So we look at how feasible this idea is, or this tool that we want to adopt are feasible to implement. Whether our customers even want it, whether they desire it, and if it's financially viable. When I talk about customers, we also look at both internal and external customers. So be very careful that you don't just look at external customers. Your internal customers must buy into the tool. If not, your whole program will fail. Yeah. So once we have this business case, we understood the problems, we understood where the gaps are, we know where to get the money, and then we can start looking for solutions to plug all these gaps. So the first one that we looked at is this AI-assisted conversational email platform. So next slide, please. When we look at the problems that I've shared with you just now, one of the problems we have is the leads generated by marketing are not being followed up on, right? So you can see from the screenshots on the right, our program was programmed to send out a pitch email to new companies setting up an office or HQ in Singapore. So we welcomed them to Singapore. We congratulated them on setting up an office. And then we sent out emails to say, do you want a welcome pack? We have a welcome pack for you to introduce you to Singapore and the talent market and how to build an employer brand. We even give them a book to teach them how to speak Singlish. So the best thing about this bot is it can nurture these potential leads at scale and provide a timely response to each and every one of them. It never sleeps. It's always patient, it's always polite. So at the end of the campaign, you can see we get a response from our lead and say, yes, I would like to meet one of your guys, to see, to talk more about the talent market when I'm ready to grow my team. The next slide talks about the other problem that we have, which is our consultants complaining that our leads are not sales qualified. Most of the leads are just maybe, curious browsers. They have no intention to buy at all. So we built workflows within this bot to offer valuable insights via a content, a thought leadership piece, and then a direct call to action and ask them to say, can we help you with your hiring needs? This way, if our clients respond positively, we know they are ready to buy. And then we can pass all these very hot leads over to our consultants immediately, as you can see here in this example. So the next slide, actually, you can see some of the sample results we have from our campaigns in Hong Kong and Singapore. You can look at the number of working hours saved, number of emails sent just by this bot alone, number of qualified leads we managed to get, meetings that we booked that are hot, meetings that said we are ready to meet, and the conversion rates, from an email outreach to a meeting. So these are actually very spectacular results that we have seen across a couple of years. The next tool that we looked at was an AI content creation tool. And yes, you read that right. You can use it to write love letters to your girlfriend or wife or partner. So this AI creation tool, content creation tool, is awesome on a few levels. First, it solves. Next slide, please. It solves the problem of not being able to meet the high content demand we have from our business, right? So we can now scale content development and train it to write in even our Randstad tone of voice. Yeah, so we can say, oh, I want to write a blog post, I want to write a LinkedIn newsletter, I want to write a Google ad, and you can just pick any of these templates and you write that content for you. The next problem that we have on the next slide is that we can't scale our content marketing efforts fast enough. So when you need to generate multiple creative and content assets like social cows, blogs, social media posts, ad copies, they all take time and resources, which we don't have. So with one click, this tool can take your simple brief and turn them into all these multiple content assets, a blog, an ad copy, a social post, and then they deploy it, that you can use to deploy on all these various platforms. Yeah. So again, if you look at the results, you can look at time saved. You can look at the increase in content downloads because now you can scale your content marketing efforts. So there are more people who can look at your content. And then all this time and resources that you save can be redirected to other tasks. Next tool that we actually are using right now, it's an AI-powered buyer engagement tool. Yeah. So this is combining conversational marketing, conversational sales, and service. So you can use it for marketing purposes, get people to download something, register for an event, or you can use it to enhance your sales conversations, get people to buy something, click to book a meeting, or even service, right? You can use your chatbot to make sure that you provide good services to your visitors, whether is it to resolve an issue, a login issue, or a website issue, or some issues that they have with your product or your service. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that it has a very interesting workflow when your web visitors come in, right? Whether they're known or unknown, or even you can target potential buyers based on your key account domains. The bot will bring them through down this funnel, and then they engage them through different offers, like for example, a content, an event, a pricing module, a blog, a video, and then you hook them in later using the same blog by offering them a call to action. Would you like to book a meeting with my sales? Would you like to download this content? Would you like to look at the demo? Would you like to talk to someone, right? So here the bot helps to better align marketing and sales. So all our marketing efforts, content marketing efforts, can now be directly linked to sales because we can drive these real leads in real time, or even build a pipeline by offering visitors the opportunity to book a meeting on the spot with the sales team without having to scale any headcount. So if you look at the next slide, that's what you can do, right? You can have pull out a calendar and schedule and say, here's my sales consultant's availability. You can now book a meeting with him directly on the spot. And that's how our sales guys get meetings delivered right into their laps immediately. So it actually builds a better alignment between us and sales, and close that gap that we talked about earlier. The next slide actually shows you how the bot also are able to show you a sneak preview, for example, of a thought leadership piece at the site. So you can actually scroll through and see, oh, this is a report or a white paper. I really liked it. The bot engages you on the right, and it pre-qualifies and screens your visitors to make sure that they are actual buyers or visitors with intention to buy. And then again, hook them in with a call to action to book a meeting, to download, or to speak to someone. It also allows them to skip the typical long, dreaded online forms that you see on most websites when you need to download a piece of content, by engaging the visitors to chat with them via the chatbot. So through our projects that we have seen so far using this bot, 50% of the visitors that came in actually prefer to speak to our bot than fill out the form. But it's the same thing. It's just that we are now using a conversational way to gather the information, like what's your name, what's your email address, so that I can flick the white paper across to you quickly. And the visitors that we've seen are more ready to give such information to the bot as opposed to filling up the form. So from that, you can see again some of the results from a sample of companies that have used this tool on the return on investments, the meetings booked, the pipeline generated. Really quite amazing results. The last tool that I would like to introduce that we use to solve our optimization problem is this SEO optimized, AI optimized tool. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that we use this tool to quickly optimize our online content, from articles to blog posts to white papers and reports. This tool can actually analyze all the top ranking pages for our search terms. So for example, if I'm searching for how to prepare for an interview, it will analyze all the top ranking pages for this type of topic, give a short summary on average word count, number of headers, links and images, or number of backlinks that these same top ranked pages have, so that we can use this as a baseline or benchmark to improve our own article. So besides reducing search times, we can also use it to outrank our competitors, because it will give us keywords that it can improve our chances of a higher Google ranking and will show us what our competitors are using. Next, it can also help us to dominate search rankings, because now we can craft content based on what are some of the questions people ask on Google featured snippets, or the people also ask sections on Google, or on highly popular forums like Reddit or Quora. Last but not least, it can also produce very highly optimized SEO copy using the AI writer, which can also reference other high-ranking search results that have similar content. Next slide, please. Go on to the next one slide. Yeah, so that's the AI writer that they have. Next one. So now that you have seen some of the AI-powered tools that we have used in our own team to optimize our key marketing processes, I'd like to show you a few more examples of how AI is being used in marketing. So you can now build a website in 1 hour using AI. Next, you can also build an app. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can also build an app with no technical knowledge at all. You can also level up your creative skills. You can animate, design, edit, translate on the spot using the same tool. You can also create more engaging ads if you have an online store on Amazon, because Amazon just released this new Gen AI image generation feature. So where you can just pick an image which has a plain background and then type in a text to say, you know, put it in a kitchen with other appliances, and then you will generate a ton of different images for you to use that you can readily place on your e-commerce store. Next. You can also produce a movie in seconds. Yang, can you play the video, if you don't mind? Before, yeah. Is it playable?
I'm Rena, since I'm hosting the file now.
Can it play? Or should I try sharing it from my screen?
I think that given the bandwidth issue that you have, I think we will give people a link to the video that plays.
Okay.
We'll continue with the slides if that's okay with you.
All right. Can you go? Yeah. Can you go back a few slides, please? After the Gen 2. Yeah. Okay. So if you can watch this later, it's really quite amazing. It's a text to video AI tool. So you key in a few lines of text and says forest or jungle or flowing streams. It will give you a video of the exact stuff that you have typed in. You can also create an ad campaign. So what Heinz did was they used this AI tool called DALL-E2 and say draw ketchup, right? So this tool actually drew a series of different types of bottles, different types of ketchup, but all featuring the traditional Heinz bottle in all of the images. So they use those images in their ad campaign. Next, you can also use AI to automate your video creation process. So if you have one long video, you can click it once, and then it will chop it up into 10 short videos based on your brief on what kind of content you want in these 10 short videos. So it will actually read the content behind your long video and picked up those content that you like for your shorter videos and put together 10 short videos for you. Next. If you have no budget to travel, there's no problem. You can now create your own digital spokesperson in your image or your CEO image and use them to create video speeches or announcements for your town halls. So the guy you see in this slide is actually a digital avatar. And then you can actually make this digital representative of yourself, speak in different languages, and then send this video across to all your markets across the world. Yeah. Next, you can also, if you need voiceovers for your videos, there are now text-to-speech AI tools that allow you to clone your voice. So for example, when you first start, you read a whole script and they record your voice, and they can use your voice to create voiceovers in different languages, tones, emotion, and accents. And you can use it for your videos. Next, you can take it one notch higher, and you can record yourself speaking a language like what I'm doing now. So if I'm now speaking in English, this tool can right now record your whole video, and then you can say, let me speak in Spanish or Arabic or Japanese, and it will use your voice and then translate it on the spot, and then you look like you're speaking Japanese or Spanish or French, which is quite amazing. But this tool, I think, is currently only available in the US, if I'm not wrong. And what you do is you will also match your voice and lip movements to match the new language that you have selected, so that it looks like you're actually speaking and recording in that language. Last but not least, the future of AI will be multimodal, right? So the previous examples you see, it's maybe a text-to-speech tool or text-to-image or text-to-video. But this one, it's going to be combining text, images, videos, speech, data, and more. So marketers can look forward to tools like Typeface, where you can manage your entire brand identity from online to offline. So you can tell the tool to say, put my brand on a video, put my brand on a hoodie, or put my brand right now on an ad campaign. And then it will do all of that for you with just 1 or 2 clicks. So it's quite amazing. So of course, besides looking at all the wonderful applications of AI, as business leaders, we also need to consider risk and challenges when deciding to implement AI in our processes. So you need to be aware of, number one, the ethical implications, right? Because we all know AI-based decisions could be susceptible to misinformation, deepfakes, discrimination, bias, or inaccuracies. So you really need to know when you're implementing AI, whether your tool will expose you to such ethical problems. Data privacy is also really high on our consideration list, and which is why your task force, right, when you set up your task force, legal should always be there, because they can actually look at the tool, look at the contract and terms and conditions to see whether you are actually violating any of these data protection guidelines. because sometimes these AI algorithms that process your personal data, like your voice or your image likeness, may result in unintended misuse or exposure of this information. You could also be legally liable if the content you produce using AI infringe on third-party copyrights, patents, or trademarks. And of course, with any AI tool, the bigger the AI tool, the more technical challenges you have, the more investments, expertise, and resources you need, which is why, always start small, pilot with some small companies, some quick wins, some quick tools, and then you get the buy-in so that you can start building your resources and teams to launch larger AI projects in the future. So since I'm from the talent industry, I like to touch quickly on AI's impact on jobs. You can see in this chart, right, pre-2020, AI could only automate simple processes in text, image generation, coding, and gaming. Fast forward to 2023 and beyond, AI has become so sophisticated it could actually take over most of the work traditionally done by humans. So case in point, if you look at the next slide, the most recent example we have seen where AI has significantly impacted jobs. Jan, can you move on to the next slide? Yeah, it's this company called Dukan, where the founder laid off 90%, 90, of its support team because the AI chatbot has proven to be much more efficient. So if you look at his tweets, it has reduced the time spent on resolution, time spent for first response, and cost. So when they're looking at all these metrics, it makes sense for them to just replace all their customer support team with just a chatbot, right? Next slide, please. Yeah, then you do a quick search on Google. You see a list of jobs that will most likely be taken over by AI in the very near future. And that's a fact. So my question to you is, how about the CEO? If you guys can type your response in the chat box, do you think the CEO can be replaced by AI or a bot? Yes or no? Yeah, can the CEO be replaced? You can just say yes or no. I hope not. Yeah. So if you are thinking, yeah, I see some of those said yes, but if you're thinking no in your mind, next slide, please. There are two companies, right, in the world right now, in case you don't know, that have appointed a robot to be their CEO. I will not go into details here because you get access to my slides, right? You can check them out yourself after this event. But my takeaway is this. You really need to keep an open mind when it comes to AI, right? Because AI will significantly alter your worldview in the next 5 to 10 years. So what you believe to be true right now may not be true in the next 5 years. So next slide. So the good news is that new technology, although it will have impact on jobs, it will also give rise to new opportunities and new jobs, right? So as you can see on the right, there is an increased demand for positions such as prompt engineers, machine learning engineers, data scientists, software architects, for example. But there's one question you also need to ask yourself, right? How long will this last? How long will this demand last? If the speed AI is evolving, how quickly will AI level up to take on these jobs as well? Next slide. So I think the key thing to remember is this. The human will always be in control, right? So I still don't believe that AI will take over the world. We still need the human to program it, to optimize it, to control it. So as a talent company in our line of work, we always remind job seekers that it is equally important, or if not more important, to focus on developing your soft skills. Because with any technology, we would need this kind of higher level cognitive, analytical, creative skills to effectively manage and leverage AI to advance ourselves. So as leaders, inaction is really not an option. Now that you are aware of all the possibilities of AI. So you have to start looking at your whys find areas where you can achieve quick wins with AI, right? Don't be too ambitious. Don't chomp off the whole elephant. Remember, one bite at a time. Set some clear and simple goals and guidelines, right? Don't be too ambitious as well and say, I want to do achieve 5 to 10 different goals. Just say maybe one. Start with one. Maybe then after that, go on to 2, go on to 3. Then you implement and measure along the way to ensure you stay on track. Then you work with a task force to make sure that you establish a clear framework to address all the risks I've spoken about earlier, and then hold each other accountable. Next slide is more about how you lead in an AI environment, because it's such a new territory for all of us, right? So how do we lead effectively when we implement? Sorry, go on to the next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So again, a lot of details here. You can read it later at your own time. But essentially, to summarize, if you're looking to lead in an AI environment, as a leader, you need to be very humble and curious, right? You must realize you don't know everything about AI, and then therefore you keep an open and learning mindset and say, I want to know more, I want to learn more, right? And then always look out for ways to improve your work processes. Then you learn and experiment, and be open to redesigning jobs if you have to, reskilling your workforce if you have to, and then be very deliberate in incorporating AI into your BAU. So you pilot, you fail fast, learn from your failures, then you try again. And then at the end of that spectrum is ready to manage the risk that comes along with leading in an AI environment, because there will always be risk. So you must have that risk appetite to say, where would I want to take this risk appetite to? How much of this risk can I take? And I'm happy to take this risk as long as I can see the results. So be aware of both the known and unknown risk as well, right? Ask all the what ifs. And then focus on combining the human and AI. Don't focus too much on the tool. So I saw this quote recently in an article. It says that the last person standing will be the person who knows how to harness AI to do the work of dozens at a lower price. So remember our trilemma, right? So it's really right now the era of AI where it can allow everyone to do projects really quickly at high quality at lower cost, yeah, and at scale. Next slide, please. So I would like to end my slide with this. AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. So again, if you have not experimented with AI, I would urge you to try soon. And if you need more information on how to get started, please feel free to reach out. Again, you can reach out to me via my LinkedIn or email. Happy to help you guys. Happy to share our journeys. Happy to go through the slide in greater detail with any of you as well. Thank you. I'm on time, 11:45.
Very, very good, Rena. I want to say this is an excellent presentation. Actually gave me a lot of different elements to discuss, and also to see a lot of new tools that I even actually didn't know existed so far. I've seen a couple of questions come in, so we still have a few minutes time. So if it's okay, I'd like to moderate those right now. The first question is, what specific AI applications have you found to be most impactful when enhancing operational effectiveness within market strategies? So if you, I think you showed over 5 or 6 different ones. Which the ones you like most? I think you're still mute.
You hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Right. So the tool that we found to be the most impactful was the very first tool we used, which was the email conversational tool. Because email is still a very much used platform with many clients. So, when we send out an email right now, we don't have to use physical humans to do it. the bot will send out the email for us, and we can program the bot to sound like a human, right? And say, hey, Jan, how are you today? We have just launched our white paper. Would you like to have a copy? And if you say yes, the bot can send you the white paper with no intervention. And then when you like the report, I can follow up with you again. The bot can follow up with you again and say, Jan, have you seen the white paper? Do you like it? Do you want to speak to someone? We can bring you through the white paper and help you with your hiring needs, right? And then Jan will reply and say, yeah, sure, I would really like to talk to someone. And then the bot will come in and say, sure, here, let me connect you with my sales guys. So all these are done without any of marketing or sales intervention. And then when the leads went directly to the sales guys. So immediately they get a hot lead who is ready to meet and talk, right? So we have used that for a couple of years, and that has consistently given us the results. And then recently with that, the other one, which is the buyer engagement tool that we place on our website, chatbot, that has also seen success, in recent months. So we have kind of used the chatbot on our website to start booking meetings on the spot for our sales guys as well.
Very, very interesting. I think I'm going to check that out myself, and because I write a lot of white papers, so that helped me tremendously with the follow-up.
So to be very specific, the email conversational tool that we are using right now is called 6 Sense. The number 6 and then SENSE. And then the tool that we are using for the website, the bot, it's called Drift, DRIFT. Yeah.
Nice. Very interesting. I'm definitely going to check that out. Let me go to the next one. Is another question. I think there's a lot of interest in tools here. Can you share the name of the AI tool for the SEO and content marketing?
Yes. The AI tool, the SEO tool, it's called Phrase, FRASE.io.
Okay, good. Very interesting. Thanks.
Yeah. And then
good. Next and final question, maybe. In your experience, how important is it for marketing professionals to have a deep understanding of AI technologies, even if they are not data scientists or engineers? What do you think? Good. I'm afraid.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Final question, Rena, is how important is it for marketing professionals? Good. I'm afraid we're going to leave that question to leave that for another day. As you all have seen throughout the presentation, Rena's connection is unfortunately not very stable. But regardless, I would like to take this opportunity to thank her for the very, very interesting presentation. I think we can all agree that this was an excellent, well-prepared, very insightful presentation. So Rena, thanks so much for being part of Automation Days today. It's really been a pleasure to have you, and I hope to connect with you anytime soon, because I'm quite sure that this is a topic that a lot of people would like to learn more about. So if I can ask everyone quickly to put their hands together for Rena, that would be greatly appreciated. Good. We're going to take a quick break after this, and before we go at the next session at noon, note that in track 2, the other session is still going on, because that's a workshop and an in-depth one, which takes a little bit more than an hour, and therefore there is no track in session 2. So in track 1, we're going to switch to Dr. Shivagami Gugan, who is the Chief Technologist at Amazon Web Services, a DevOps Institute ambassador and lead author of the SRE practitioner and observability courses. Very knowledgeable speaker who I've seen present before, so this is definitely something you don't want to miss. And Dr. Shivagami is going to talk about automation and generative AI. And as I showed you in the introduction, generative AI is one of those key themes that you see being embedded now in automation in almost every single solution. So stay tuned, and we will see each other back in 10 minutes for our next session. Thanks everyone for joining.